because I like to emphasize that most of my women guests are from Africa, the Caribbean, or in the African diaspora. Are you seeing more of a conversation and building the bridge between the African diaspora and even with agriculture? You know, we talked earlier on about how at some point, Africa, the population is growing. We need to have food security. But then I also heard you talk about how at some point we may be the ones who are feeding the world. So we need to have, a bridge between the African diaspora and the rest of the world. Are you seeing anything going in that direction?
Yes, absolutely. I can actually give a shout out to my friends at Dine Diaspora. They are a group that was founded by Ghanaian-American women. They're based in the US, and they are shining a light on African foods and African chefs. A lot that's happening in the US, right? And so even by rebranding and by marketing our foods, like our chefs that are cooking Ethiopian foods and across the states, or Ghanaian and Nigerian, it's really important because stories are important, right? Our pride of what our foods are and were. How do we reclaim some of the recipes that are lost, right? How do we actually note that down? There are a lot of great cookbooks that are coming out, right? Or that have been out the last couple of years, all on African dishes, right? And I think that having the pride in writing it down and actively sharing it within the diaspora is going to have an impact on business, on trade, because it shines more of a light on, oh, there are consumers, the demand side of food. People actually want to eat these types of foods that maybe we're not growing enough of across a few different countries, but probably across the continent. There's also a real interest in indigenous crops. And, there are crops that are native to African lands that, we forgot about. We went to rice and to wheat and to all of these crops when we have Fonio, we have Cassava. And so some of these crops also do very well in arid or semi-arid lands. And we don't have to get into that, but it's important kind of on the fact that they can grow in all sorts of environments, right? Because we have climate change that's impacting weather patterns and all of that. And so, yeah, I think that there's a lot happening. I think a lot happening globally. And it's exciting. And I would love for it to just continue to grow. And I hope I'm part of bringing that type of value to not solely what's happening in Africa, but how do we continue to export, right? Because we can feed the world. We have 60% of the world's arable land is in Africa, right? Our water tables are very strong. And so these are things that we can really leverage to be able to improve our production and continue to hopefully export more than we import going forward. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a lot happening in the diaspora, and I think it's beautiful to see, right? And it's not only beautiful to see, but we know that through stories and through culture, it's going to have an impact on business and trade. And at the end of the day, what oftentimes matter is like the bottom line, like who's making money, like if there's a demand, like we will grow it and we will sell it.
If you just enjoyed that video, check out the longer version right here.